This is every goal Michu scored for Swansea City when we were in the Premier League.
Wet dream for Elis James, this clip.
Good ball through to Nathan Dyer into the box. Picks of Michu, shoots. He's scored! Parky Akite leaves it for dead. Routledge still going. Threads it through to Michu. Oh, what a goal! A second one from Michu. It was threaded through by...
This brought back an awful lot of great memories.
The look on his face.
I was at so many of these games. We paid £2 million for him. No one had heard of him. Halfway through the season, I think by the end of the calendar year, he was the top scorer in the Premier League.
What was his background?
He was playing in the Spanish, I think it was second division.
Wow,
Was offered the chance to play in La Liga, which had always been his ambition growing up. Turned it down because he was for the rivals of his boyhood club. So he said, well, I can't play for them. So I'll stay where I am. And then Michael Laudrup / our recruitment team heard of him somehow. I think he'd scored 15 goals in like the Spanish second division the year before. So they bought him in, £2 million. And he got off to an absolutely flying start because he scored on his debut against QPR. We beat them 5-0. And Alan Curtis, who was assistant manager at the time to Laudrup, said, we were going into that game feeling a little bit undercooked. And if you'd said before the match it's going to end 5-0, we'd have assumed that we were losing because we had a terrible record at Loftus Road. Okay, we'll get our bad result out of the way now. He was brilliant. He was a fantastic, ice cold finisher. He was great in a one-on-one. He was good in the air. He always knew. Great header of the ball. He knew how to be in the right place at the right time. And it all went through. We had one season where it was fantastic, and it now feels such a long time ago, and it feels like this weird aberration because we were in the Premier League. It was the second season we had in the Premier League. So it all still felt really new. So you're always trying to go to as many games as possible because you never knew when it was going to end. Somehow we had one of the best players in the world in the 1980s and 1990s managing us, and we were good. So we were, like I was at the...
They used to talk about Swansea all the time. Lineker and the boys would always rave about the way they played football as well.
The 2 goals he scored against Arsenal at the Emirates when we beat them 2-0, I was there for that. This was Arsenal we were beating.
What a mad result.
Arsenal. And we just battered them. It was brilliant. We beat them 2-0. The goals he scored against Chelsea in the league. It was in the League Cup semi-final, wasn't it?
That QPR goal, which is the second clip.
Where he just bends it.
Goal.
And what was weird was it brought back an awful lot of memories. He is the ultimate streets won't forget player in that he wasn't good enough to play for Man City, but he was excellent, and we had one season out of him. Yeah. And his ankle, it's quite sad. He's in constant pain. He had to retire. He's in pain now. His doctor told him that he's got the ankles of someone in their 80s.
Really?
Yeah. And
did he retire? How many seasons did he play, Al?
He played. We had one full season, and he played at the beginning of the second season.
Yeah.
Because he played against Valencia, didn't he, in September, and then the injuries just got too bad. But then we replaced him with Boney, who actually arguably a better player, because Boney ended up going to Man City. But again, Boney was shit at Man City, he was shit at Stoke, he was just brilliant for us. And I was talking to Jermaine Defoe about this. I said, what was it like playing against Swansea? And Spurs had a player, a midfielder who'd been at Real Madrid, a really good player, and I can't remember his name. And we absolutely passed them off the park, which was the way which is what we used to do. And apparently he'd never heard of Swansea, never really heard of Wales. And at full time, we went into the change rooms. He was like, "Who the fuck are they? What's just happened?
They're great.
What? They're fucking what the fuck's going on? Never heard of them." And that is what we did for a bit, and obviously we don't do it now. And now we're in the Championship, but it's just I love the kits. I just
Here's
love.
A question now.
Oh my god!
And you're a dyed-in-the-wool, lifelong Swansea City fan, right? Do you think that they'll ever be that good again?
No.
Is there a hope? Is there a hope there? Or
Well, I mean, this leads into my second clip for the Patreons. Mad stuff can always happen in football. Like, if you look at the journey Brighton have been on, or similar to us, almost fell out the Football League, lost their ground, now are playing in Europe. Bournemouth, I mean, I remember going to Bournemouth in League Two. There was 3,500 there, 500 people from Swansea, and I remember watching them at the the Liberty, and they on a Tuesday night. We must have been playing them in the league. They had maybe 50 fans, and now they've had time in the Premier League. Leicester fucking won the Premier League, so sport is weird. Wales got to the semi-final of a major international tournament, having not qualified for anything for 58 years. Sport is weird. I just think that it would have to be an amazing effort, and I can't see it happening with this ownership, certainly. The amazing thing with the Swans is that May 2003, we almost fell out the Football League. May 2011, 8 years later, we're in the Premier League. I mean, it was an incredible journey.
How did they ever sign Laudrup? How did that happen?
Well, we were in the Premier League by this point, you see, because we'd gone up under Brendan Rodgers, and then he'd gone to Liverpool.
Yeah.
So what Hugh Jenkins, who was the chairman at the Swans at the time, what he and the rest of the board, the consortium of locals who bought the club to save the club, were very good at was managerial appointments, because it would have... Brian Flynn was a stroke of genius. Kenny Jackett was a great manager. He got us promoted, and then we had Martinez, who was fantastic.
Oh, great, yeah.
And then we had Paulo Sousa, who wasn't pretty to watch, but it was taught us how to defend.
Yeah.
And then Brendan Rodgers. I mean, look at what Brendan's gone on to do. And then and by that point we're in the Premier League, and Laudrup as a young manager wanted a job in the Premier League, so we got him. That was the last good one, I think. We sort of started to fall apart after that, because Laudrup went in the sort of February or the March, I think it was, just before we played Cardiff at home, and we got Gary Monk in, and Gary Monk sort of stopped us playing in the Swansea way. And then once we stopped doing that, then the squad became
personnel, or was that
imbalanced and inconsistent. He was just, his job was to keep us up, because we could have gone down under Laudrup that second season. He'd lost interest a little bit. But that first season, I honestly thought we were going to win in Europe. I mean, it's just with Michu, what we were very good at, was finding these diamonds in the rough, often from Spain, like Angel Rangel.
That's great scouting, though.
He cost us 20,000 quid. Like 20 grand. And he had, Leon Britton was, he'd been written off. He was at West. He played for us in all four divisions. Alan Tate played for us in all four divisions.
Wasn't he Chancellor as well? Different.
Yeah. No, he managed that in the spare time. It was really good.
Oh yeah.
What I think's interesting is that lot that you've mentioned there all still live in that area.
I
quite like players, because I think Angel Rangel's like an academy coach at Pontardawe.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, as a Cardiff and Barry boy, it is a beautiful part of the world on there.
It's lovely. I just think I like that with any football club, any sports team, when people are sort of taken to heart in that area, and they feel like they belong there. That's such a big
and
thing.
The area is different, and it's far. Where we've got our away trips are further than pretty much everyone else's. Plymouth's obviously, Carlisle.
Yeah.
So it is. You are a little like we always take loads to West Brom, because the West Midlands is relatively close. We always used to take loads to Cheltenham, because Cheltenham is relatively close. Whereas if you support Birmingham City or Villa, everywhere apart from Newcastle is fairly convenient. The London clubs, it's easy. We always take lots to the London clubs for that reason. And also that golden era, those players, they would often leave for a bit and then they'd always come back. Leon Britton left and he came back. Lee Trundle left and he came back. Michu, we loved
Boney
him.
Come back?
Boney did come back. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Look at
You were
that.
like this 4 years ago.
That's good. Fair play.
With Michu, he wasn't like a footballer. He was really down to earth. The players used to call him Shaggy or the student, because he just looked like a student. He didn't really care about what he looked like. He used to sort of have a scruffy rucksack. His car wasn't particularly nice. He just sort of didn't give a fuck.
Big green man called the Mystery Machine.
He just loved scoring goals.
Had a talking dog.
A little dog that was annoying.
Always wore a green T-shirt.
Shit little dog he bought second season.
Kept saying, Zoiks!
Talking dog.
Why'd you go Shaggy? He's got a talking dog.
Honestly,
like ghosts.
if he gets injured and has to leave the Premier League, he's going to be fine. Because once he puts his talking dog out there, he's going to be fucking massive online.
He solved 15 unsolved murder cases for South Wales Police while he's been here. Him and his talking dog. Fucking great lads.
I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you pesky footballers.
It wasn't for Michu and his talking dog.
He was just loved, Michu, because he wasn't like a normal footballer. He just didn't he didn't have particularly nice clothes. Yeah, he hadn't cut his hair. It was just really his celebration for his first game. Well, for the first goal he scored in the first game against QPR, because he always used to do that thing where he'd sort of twist around his ear.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that.
The very first game and the very first goal he scored, he was pouring a glass of cider because he's from a cider-producing region of Spain. So it's like a sort of nod to where he came from.
How did he specify that it was a cider that he was pouring?
I think angled glass.
Okay, yeah.
Whoop, there you go.
Good. I'm glad it wasn't a Guinness. He leaves it there for 2 minutes.
He's got to score again 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
And then he does a shamrock in it and everyone complains. You don't get that in Ireland.
Oh, that's apple brandy, isn't it?
No, I don't know.
Calvados?
Not sure.
He was from Oviedo, run there. That was the club he supported as a kid growing up. I think he's back. I think that's where he lives now. He does the occasional interview. He did one with Stu James in The Athletic about what he's doing now, because he's still in his 30s. That's the sad thing.
Yeah, we got that one cap for Spain, didn't he, while he was with you lot?
Oh, yeah, I'd forgotten about
played
that.
for Spain once, which I always quite liked.
Yeah.
Just getting that.
Imagine getting ruined ankles in your 20s. When he must have been in his late 20s or whatever.
Absolutely horrible.
Yeah. But it's just great memories.
Yeah.
But now,
listening to this is like all the commentaries on this are. You mentioned Rob Phillips earlier. They're all the Radio Wales commentaries, and it just because I was at all of these games. So I'd been presenting, they'd have been commentating. It's just brilliant. It's like a little sort of Christ, yeah, I remember that car journey. I remember eating ice cream in the press room at Arsenal or whatever it was. Brilliant. I love all that.
Because we finished 9th that season.
Yeah, you were good.
You know, we were good.
Yeah, you were a good team.
Just mad.
Just didn't last.